Chapter 5, Section 2, The Roots of Representative Government. Please make sure to have your Google Doc out through the Google Classroom to complete the questions that go along with this video. And when you have finished Chapter 5, Section 2, Part 2, make sure to submit through the Google Classroom. So the main idea of this section is that the colonists expected their government to preserve their basic rights as English subjects. Why it matters today is that U.S. citizens expect these same rights, such as the right to a trial by jury. Key terms and names that you'll see throughout the section and the video: Magna Carta, Parliament, Edmund Andros, Glorious Revolution, English Bill of Rights, Salutary Neglect, and John Peter Zenger. One American story. In 1688, the Puritan minister Increase Mather sailed to England to get relief for Massachusetts. The English government had canceled the charter of Massachusetts and sent a royal governor to rule. The colonists thought the governor trampled their rights as English subjects. After 4 years in England, Mather came home with a new charter that he hoped would satisfy the colonists. For all English liberties are restored to them. No persons shall have a penny of their estates taken from them, nor any laws imposed on them, without their own consent by representatives chosen by themselves. Increase Mather, quoted in The Last American Puritan. Okay, so what we want to do, as we normally do, as we begin our sections with One American Story, is do a SOAPs analysis. All right, so who was the speaker of this document? Might be a good idea to go back and listen. What was the occasion? When and where did he give this speech or write this document? Who is his intended audience? Who is he speaking to? What is his intended purpose? To entertain, inform, or persuade? And what is the subject or the main idea of what he's saying in this primary source? So pause the video or go back and re-listen to it, asking yourself those questions, and when you think you've come up with those answers, rejoin the video here. So the speaker of this video, or of this primary source document, I'm the speaker of this video, but the speaker of this primary source document is Increase Mather. Okay, the occasion would have been in 1692, because it was 4 years after he set sail for England, and we heard in the beginning that he set sail in 1688. And the location where it took place would have been in the New England colonies, specifically in Massachusetts. Who is his audience? Most likely he's speaking to a group of settlers, all right, or a group of colonists, okay? Or possibly he's writing in a type of legal document. His purpose: to entertain, inform, or persuade. Definitely to inform. All right, he is informing now on what our main subject is, which is that the English liberties, or the basic rights of English subjects, have been restored to the colonist from the English government after he has gone to complain about their rights being trampled by the royal governor when the Massachusetts charter was canceled. Specifically that they cannot be taxed, a penny of their estates cannot be taken from them, and they do not have to follow any laws, no laws imposed on them, without their own consent by representatives chosen by themselves. In other words, they can't be taxed, and they don't have to follow laws if they don't have representation in a government body, specifically in a colonial assembly or back in England in Parliament. So Mather called the new charter a Magna Carta for New England. In this section, you will learn about the rights of English people set forth in the Magna Carta and in later documents. These rights are the basis for the rights Americans enjoy today. The rights of Englishmen. English colonists expected certain rights that came from living under an English government. These rights of Englishmen had developed over centuries. The first step toward guaranteeing these rights came in 1215. That year, a group of English noblemen forced King John to accept the Magna Carta, meaning Great Charter. The king needed the nobles' money to finance a war. This document guaranteed important rights to noblemen and freemen, those who were not bound to a master. They could not have their property seized by the king or his officials. They could not be taxed, in most cases, unless a council of prominent men agreed. They could not be put on trial based only on an official's word, without any other witnesses. They could be punished only by a jury of their peers who were people of the same social rank. A voice from the past. No free man shall be seized, imprisoned, dispossessed, outlawed, or exiled, nor will we proceed against or prosecute him except by the lawful judgment of his peers or by the law of the land. Written in the Magna Carta, a document of history of England. The Magna Carta limited the powers of the king. Over time, the rights it listed were granted to all English people, not just noblemen and freemen. So when it mentions freemen, that means those who are not servants or obviously slaves. Okay, so originally the Magna Carta only gave rights to the upper class, but eventually those rights spread to all Englishmen. Parliament and the colonial government. One of the most important English rights was the right to elect representatives to government. Parliament, England's chief lawmaking body, was the colonist model for representative government. Parliament was made up of two houses. Members of the House of Commons were elected by the people. Members of the House of Lords were non-elected nobles, judges, and church officials. They were appointed, right? So they were just given their positions. No one voted for them. The king and parliament were too far away to manage every detail of the colonies. Also, like the citizens of England, English colonists in America wanted to have a say in laws governing them. So they formed their own elected assemblies, similar to the House of Commons. Virginia's House of Burgesses was the first one of these. In Pennsylvania, William Penn allowed the colonists to have their own General Assembly. These Virginia and Pennsylvania assemblies imposed taxes and managed the colonies. Although the colonists governed themselves in some ways, England still had authority over them. The king appointed royal governors to rule some colonies on his behalf. Parliament had no representatives from the colonies. Even so, it passed laws that affected the colonies. The colonists disliked these laws, and they began to clash with royal governors over how much power England should have in America. These conflicts became more intense in the late 1600s. A royal governor's rule. The reign of James II threatened the colonies' tradition of self-government. James became king in 1685. He wanted to rule England and its colonies with total authority. One of his first orders changed the way the northern colonies were governed. These colonies, especially Massachusetts, had been smuggling goods and ignoring the Navigation Acts we talked about in Chapter 4. When challenged, the people of Massachusetts had claimed that England had no right to make laws for them. The previous king, Charles II, had then canceled their charter. King James combined Massachusetts and the other northern colonies into one dominion of New England, ruled by the royal governor Edmund Andros. Andros angered the colonists by ending their representative assemblies and allowing town meetings to be held only once a year. With their assemblies outlawed, some colonists refused to pay taxes. They said that being taxed without having a voice in government violated their rights. Andros jailed the loudest complainers. After trial, they were told, "You have no more privileges left you than not be sold for slaves." The colonists then sent Increase Mather to England to plead with King James. However, a revolution in England swept King James and Governor Andros from power. This is the end of Chapter 5, Section 1, Part 1. You should be able to answer several questions on your Google Doc and be ready to finish that doc after you complete Chapter 5, Section 2, Part 2. So when that is complete, make sure that you have submitted, and we will see you in class tomorrow.